This is going to be a response to Nuclear Night. And yes, Knuckles is greater than you. Pretty much, this is going to be a response to an old video that she made of hers. And pretty much the Amazing Atheist made a video about this already, so you'll know by the title if this is a two-part rant, but I just want to get into one of her videos, which is about prostitution. But I'm going to let her show her side of the argument, and then I'll counter the point. So here's the first argument.
One thing that comes up constantly is they'll try to switch the debate from what it actually is to being about what they want it to be about. So we'll be debating prostitution, right? And all of a sudden, but out of nowhere, somebody will just say, well, what about women's right to choose to be a prostitute? Aren't you a feminist? Women have a right to choose to be a prostitute. You're trying to tell women what they can and can't do with their own bodies. Well, we aren't debating about that, are we? We're debating about whether or not, and listen up, I'm debating about whether or not men have a right to buy sex.
So that's your argument. Your argument is whether men are allowed to buy sex. Really? I mean, is that really too much of an issue to really tackle on? Are you going to really worry about that, especially if you are this die-hard feminist? Why not tackle a real issue such as, well, in a certain position of a job, the male will get paid more than the female? Why won't you tackle that issue, which you probably did in a past video? But this is stupid, really. I'll probably get to the point of why men want to buy sex, but we'll just continue on with your video.
I'm debating about, why it's taken for granted that women have to be available for men to use sexually.
Honey, you see, no one's saying that it's mandatory for a guy to go out there and buy sex. Alright, two factors playing to that. One, you've got a guy who is aroused enough to want to spend X amount of dollars to go out there and call a girl or go and find a hooker to fuck for the night. For whatever reason. And then you've got the second factor, which is the woman who is taking the risk and allowing herself to risk herself into getting A, HIV, or B, raped. Alright? There's two factors that play into that role, and it's both their choice. Alright? I don't really think that you have a choice in the matter. You have a choice in what you do for your future benefits, but that's their decision. I really don't think you should be getting involved in that kind of thing.
That's what the debate about is for me. I don't see why men can't just masturbate.
And see, this is where I draw a problem with you. And I'm trying to be as mature as possible because there have been people out there giving you a lot of heat. You see, that point is valid because, yes, why go ahead and spend X amount of dollars when you can sit at home, look at a picture, and masturbate to it with no charge whatsoever? But see, the problem is you made a video about pornography and talking about how it's harmful that pornography should be out there for men to masturbate to. Well, where do you think men masturbate to? I mean, really, there's only one thing that really comes to mind that men masturbate to, and that's porn, which you've considered harmful. And now you're sitting here saying, well, prostitution is bad, why not just masturbate? See, your argument is not clicking together. See, that's why I'm drawing a problem with you right now.
Really? You really have to do that? I mean, you do. You make me fucking sick if you think that's okay.
So now you're sick if you believe in males wanting to buy a prostitute just to have sex for the night. Really? Okay, I think you're brain dead because you believe that prostitution is the all evil and pornography is all evil. Alright? Not saying that you are, but that I'm just following the logic that you are displaying.
We have these idiots just arguing, oh, it's totally okay. It's totally okay. No, it's not. I don't believe that you can just buy a person in that way and, go about your daily business and, have real respect for women in particular.
it is possible for men to respect women and want a hooker for the night. It really is. As crazy as that may sound to even the normal human being, the only real thing is a guy just wants to be satisfied sexually. That's all. And all he has to do is surrender a bit of dollar bills, depending on how much the prostitute wants. And really, it's their choice. They should decide that. I mean, I know you have something against it, but really, do you really have a choice in the matter? Just saying.
Another red herring, and this ties into that, is to always bring up the exceptions to avoid the rule, right? The majority of prostitutes around the world are female. Not just like, not just like some little majority either. It's not like some slim majority. It's a big fucking majority.
Now, while you and I don't provide the statistics to prove it, I can agree with you that females are in the high majority in the prostitute agenda. But there's a reason for that. It's an easier job for females. Guys love sex. Plain and simple. That's really how it is. It's an easy job for them. If they need the money, prostitution's right there. All you gotta do is just go out, just promote yourself. Guy will call you. Bada bing, bada boom. You make easy money. Easy money for the woman. And you're basically sitting here saying to all these women that are trying to provide that, oh, it's wrong, you shouldn't be doing this. Well, what are they going to do in the meantime? But there's a point that you make next that I want to touch up on, which involves this point. So let's watch that.
And people, they constantly bring up, well, what about gay prostitutes? Oh, there are gigolos. Oh, I hate that word. What about women who buy men for use, sexual use? And I'm like, well, that doesn't happen as often. Those are usually very rich women.
Before we get to the next point, I want to touch this one first. So because females do it less, you're just going to drop it right there? See, this is where I'm garnering a problem. This is a contradiction to your point of prostitution being bad. Oh, well, females are just doing it less, so we'll justify it. No. Just, you're doing it because they're females. That is your position. You're a female. You're a feminist. Alright? This is where I'm garnering a problem with you. You're biased towards your gender because you're saying, well, the male demographic, that's wrong. But the female doing it, oh no, that's fine. That's all good and dandy. It's just like with, let's say, white people can't say the N-word, but black people can say it to each other back and forth all the frickin' time. I mean, come on, it's a double standard that's bias, alright? I don't buy that. I'm sorry. That point had to be shut down.
But yeah, let's talk about gay prostitution. Like, oh, does this somehow legitimize prostitution? Because as far as I knew, the majority of gay prostitutes in the town I live in are young men who've been thrown out of their homes because their families don't accept their sexualities, and they have to basically sell their ass on the street so they can eat. And then they get addicted to drugs because of the pain of their lives.
See, here's another problem. What makes you think those females that are prostituting themselves, what makes you think they're not going through the same things? What makes you think that the female wasn't kicked out of her house for whatever reason? Because she had a certain belief. It doesn't have to be on sexual preference, whether you're gay or straight. Some girls get kicked out of the house, or males get kicked out of the house just because of their religious beliefs, their political beliefs. Stupid crap. Alright? Females can get kicked out of the house and then they've got nothing. Except for prostitution. I'm not saying it's the greatest job in the world, but by God, it's the one way they can make easy money and support themselves other than being a waitress at a diner. But being a waitress at a diner, they gotta worry about their tips. Whereas here, it's an easy job. They can make $400 within an hour. I mean, come on. It happens to gays. I'm not saying it doesn't, but really, it could happen to females too. You're leaving that point out. There are 3 reasons that women most likely get into prostitution. Because they want to, because they have no choice because they need to support their children or their homes, or C, they were forced into it. Alright? You gotta use this common sense.